Jeff DeHaven Productions, Marketing and Event Planning. My title is CEO and founder of the company. Job description is we handle everything from social media, setting up pages for companies, organizations, maintaining them. We also do Twitter, blogs, websites, any marketing material, brochure, flyers, business cards. And then we also set up and organize events, do a lot of cross promotions, specialty events, like open houses, grand openings, those marketing since I was 18. Started kind of doing it on my own, incorporated into every job that I worked at. And then started doing it full time as DeHaven Productions in 2003 and been doing it ever since. I started doing this is in every job that I was a part of, I've always been excited about new things. Definitely when I started this, Facebook and Twitter wasn't around, but that's the majority of what we do nowadays. Like I said, Facebook and Twitter is always changing, and so that excites me for something fresh, something new every day. It's not the same old stuff. Always different businesses, always different promotions, contests, different ways to market. From Midland High School, I went on to Delta, took a few classes at Northwood. I just really got excited to do my business and been doing it full time ever since. Very excited about social media. It's something that's not been around for a while, so there's really not any rules to it. You know, do your own thing. I just try to think of new things that people aren't doing. Recently we just launched JeffDeHaven.com, and on that we're selling sponsorships for Facebook. So every post on Facebook and Twitter will have a sponsor, a little plug. So kind of like when you listen to radio, they say weather's brought to you by, and they name off the company, kind of say a little bit about it. We're doing that. As far as I know, it's not been done anywhere else. Probably do a YouTube video to go with that and change it up every week again because social media is always changing. The testing we've done this year, 2010, we've seen that the companies that we've sponsored are actually sticking in people's heads. So they remember the company, the brand. They don't necessarily maybe know where it is, but they definitely know about it. So we're working on making sure that they know where it is, know what they do, know what kind of services that they offer. So that's something new that we've started. Like I said, it's very fresh, but it's something we're very excited about. Other things that we've done with social media is we did a 12 Days of Christmas. We put a different location all 12 days of the 12 Days of Christmas. It was at a different business. We got to see direct traffic right into those businesses from consumers that necessarily didn't know about the company beforehand. Made a page separately for just a product for a company or their beverages, and we just made a separate page, took it to the next level. There's like 28,000 fans on it. It's not about numbers. Social media is not an overnight thing. It's not a number-based thing, but it's really how effective you can be with it. So those are some of the examples of some of the things we've done. There's always new stuff popping up, and we just try to stay fresh with it and be creative. When we go to do events, we try to, again, incorporate what the client is looking for, try to put our little spin on it, but make sure it's elegant and unique and definitely is something somebody's not been to before. That's why we really customize in specialty events. We do the events that are always changing, which incorporates our other marketing side. So social media is always changing, our events are always changing in something different. How we incorporate social media with our events, we mainly use Facebook, Twitter. I mentioned YouTube, and we do a lot with Foursquare now. I use it constantly, and I love it. We throw questions on there like, you know, what colors do people like right now, or what kind of food do you like? You know, send us some pictures of events that you've been to or weddings that you've been to, decorations you've seen. So we really try to get feedback and ideas as we can from, you know, people that follow us via Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and really try to engage them and get their opinions, because that's what matters. I mean, when we're doing events like grand openings, we want to know what people are excited to come out and see. So we ask questions or contests and promotions. Recently, we had an orchard, Apple Valley Orchard in Saginaw, did a grand opening and looked at the statistics of the Facebook page. The demographic was mostly female, and it was mostly 34 to 45. So we looked at what type of things are they interested in. They're interested in relaxing, so we got some certificates to a massage therapist, and we also got some certificates to a photography studio. You know, very family oriented, and so those went over very well. So we just try to see what your demographic is, what they would be excited to come and get and be a part of, and that's usually what we put into our events. And we get those ideas through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We did an event for Dow Corning. They were celebrating $1 million in sales. What they wanted to do is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and so what we did with that, we outsourced a great video of opening scene, the set of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and it really helped us bring down the cost because we didn't have to go and buy all these props and build them, so it's not out in the open, so it still looked nice and presentable and elegant because it was at the H Hotel, and it really brought the whole party to feel like you was in the studio audience, and that's what we wanted to get from this particular event. So doing a lot of video production, stuff with projectors and screens, a lot of Photoshop images is really how we've been using a lot of technology. As I mentioned before, we still use social media to, you know, get some content if it's questions, feedback, and get some questions that I could ask, day-to-day stuff. So we asked a few questions that won't even pertain to chemistry, and they actually turned out to be some of the tough ones, and stuff that is everyday knowledge to me that a lot of people don't think about. So we tried to kind of do half and half, and had a good time, and they were very impressed, and so we felt like we did a really good job with that event. That's how we use social media to bring that party to life. Since 2003, I started doing a lot of DJing stuff when I was younger, about 18 or so. I used to work at Target, so I DJ all their company Christmas parties. Did a yearly picnic, was at Plymouth Park, Fun Zone. A lot of people were out there playing with their kids. I actually made my own business cards and kind of just threw them out, and that's how I got some other gigs. And DJing was a big part of DeHaven Productions when we first started. It was actually called Jeff DeHaven Productions when we first started. But then we dropped that, and now we do more marketing. But how we really got to where we are now is all through social media. I don't have any budget at all for advertising. I've not done any newspapers, any magazines, any billboards, any banner ads. Did do some Facebook ads, but again, was no cost with that. It was all with Facebook. I have 1,000 friends, but I didn't start out with that. It grew over time, and definitely a lot of them weren't in business. They were just people I knew, relatives, things like that. But I just started talking. Today I'm going to meeting so-and-so from this company and we're talking about social media, or I'm going to meet so-and-so from this company and we're talking about websites, or I'm going to meet with this company and we're putting together an open house event. So I just started talking about what I'm doing on a day-to-day. When Foursquare came out, I started using that, and I would just use that to update my status. So instead of going on Facebook and saying I'm doing this, I would check in on Foursquare and say what I'm doing. So really use that to kind of get my name out, what we're doing, what we're part of. People said, oh, Jeff can do this, or Jeff can do that, and word of mouth has really gone around. Definitely when I talk to clients, I give them extra business cards, ask them for referrals. Business people know business people. I do a lot of networking. I go to as many chamber events as I can. I'm not a member because I don't use to spend the cost. I got my name in the paper. When we launched JeffDeHaven.com, I sent some press releases out, and so that just really gets your name out there without having to spend any money. So you really don't have to spend any money, and that's the great thing about social media. If you know how to use it effectively, you can get a lot of things accomplished, like getting your name out there, getting some exposure. Is just try to stay unique, try to do something different. I mean, a lot of stuff that you can do with social media is follow people in different markets. So I follow this guy that does cell phone company text message alerts in Seattle. I follow a dude that does advertising and promotions uniquely in Florida. I follow some guys in California. Those markets are more advanced, more tech savvy than mid-Michigan. So I definitely feel like by following them, I can see what they're doing, what's working in their markets, what's not. It saves me time because they're trying it, they're spending the money, and I'm gaining the results. Again, as a small businesses, you got to look at stuff like that. They're also putting out links to great articles, great books. They have the time to look through all these books and magazines and find these links. I don't have that time, and so I can just get the good ones and then move on. So advice I would have is look at ways that you can get information. Social media is definitely a great way to do that, and look at ways that you can utilize that for your business. So I can kind of have a heads up of what other markets are doing, so I know, maybe in a couple months I'll be in mid-Michigan and I can be the first one to do that, which makes you unique and stand out. Or, I can get a lot of good information by these magazines that they're reading, or books that they're reading, or seminars that they attended that they post links to without actually attending them and have to spend the money on that. And then, something like JeffDeHaven.com. Like I said, as far as it hasn't been done, and if it has, I don't think it's done exactly how we do it, but it's something different that gets people talking, and people want to be a part of something different. A lot of small businesses don't have a big budget, but they want to stick out with the competitions that may have a big budget, so they have to find unique things to do to stick out. And JeffDeHaven.com, I feel, is a perfect way to do that, as it's very low cost. I mean, the first week in January for a week of advertising, it's $5. The last week is $260. You can't get a billboard, a newspaper, a TV ad, a radio ad for $260. I mean, it's just not possible. And we did a nonprofit once a quarter for $1. So, I mean, we're not in it to make a ton of money. We're in it to help small businesses. My grandparents own their own company. My mom does, my dad does, and so does my oldest brother. So that's where I really got passionate about smaller businesses. But, I really feel that I'm here to help and do as much as I can with my company. And so don't look at it as how can I make fast money quick and get to be super successful. I mean, yes, success is needed, but I mean, definitely look at ways you can stick out and be different, that people come to you rather than you have to look for them. I mean, a lot of time I save by not having to go out and pursue clients, by them coming to me because they heard about me, and they found me or they saw me on Facebook and Twitter. I just met with a guy today that I've been friends with for a while. He's a realtor. Today we met because he wants to do Facebook. And just by knowing me, and he says, every time I get on Facebook, I see your face. Just from that, you might not think that you'll be working with them, but you never know what would come down the road. So keep your eyes and ears open for always new stuff. Stay up with the times, but think of things that you can do that saves money, that will really benefit the company.